Legends and Super Legends. Welcome to Veloharmony. Today's ride, my buddy Paul is not well. He's on antibiotics. He's got some kind of an infection of his lungs. And so he feels below the weather, so he needs to rest. That's the goal. I'm heading out to meet the group. It's a little after 5:30 in the morning. Let me turn on this computer here. It's a little before dawn. You can see the sky there. So, gonna roll out and ride to the ride and then ride with them. Get some clips for you all. So on this ride, we started out in Northampton. I was riding solo because Paul was not well. So I started about 5:30 in the morning, 5:37. Rode to the Woodlands. Picked up the group. We had to go pick up the leader of the group because he had a flat at home. And we rode out to Montgomery County. Part of the group was going further out. I went ahead and came back with a part of the group that came back through Canaan, the Montgomery County. We took the Canaan cutoff and back through Honia Egypt Road. It's a very interesting ride. So I rode through Sterling Ridge and back to the house after hooking up with the group. So I had to get up early this morning. I don't know if you guys can even see me. I don't know how this is gonna film, but a little more light here. Girls get a chance to get out there and get some caves in. Alright guys, it's about 6:27 a.m. Good morning.
How you doing?
Good. We got here probably about 10 minutes ago. It took me about 40 minutes to ride the 9.5 miles. Just steady, you know, between zone 1 and zone 2. It was good that I got to do that because I've been off the entire week. I didn't even get to spin on Friday. So we're at the Pizza Crust Company. I don't know if you can pick it up. Crust Pizza Company. It's like a Chicago style pizza. We're getting ready. It just got here a few minutes before. We're supposed to leave at 6:30. I don't like to cut my rides close. I like to get there early and warm up. So I'm glad I got a chance to ride up here. We got, the sun came up about 5:45, something like that. So, go say good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Got you guys on camera.
Oh, you're Edrin?
Eldred.
Eldred. I see Harmony is who. See
Veloharmony, yeah, that's a
Veloharmony.
channel that
I'm
run. Joe, how you doing? Channel with a lot of tips for different levels of cyclists.
All right, here's one for you. Question. So obviously it's a multi-sport Garmin. I'm trying to get the moisture.
Oh gosh. I used to do that by sticking them in a bin with rice.
Okay.
That helps.
Okay.
Same thing if your phone falls in water.
Okay.
Because the rice will absorb the moisture.
Well, you know.
That. The lines in it.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen one of those.
Just started
Well, I mean,
last week, but
this is.
That's the same one I have. I haven't seen it do that. Did it fall in water? That's because it's supposed to be somewhat water resistant.
Yeah, there's no water. We were riding in the Rockies, and it was probably about the 5th day or 6th day, and all of a sudden these lines showed up.
If you contact them, they'll probably be curious to know. They'll probably just send you a new unit so they can figure out what happened to that one. They're pretty good about it.
See, this one, the problem is, this is old. I mean, you know.
You can't see anything on it. It's got moisture in there. Good morning. How are you? Morning.
So I mean.
Morning.
So under here is like.
Does an O-ring like this flat?
Yeah. And I've taken out the O-ring obviously for this. But where would I
I would start there because it's kind of hard to know who carries it.
It's an older.
Yeah. Just put the. All you can. You know what you could do is get the model number, put it online on Google.
Yeah.
Somebody might carry the O-ring.
Yeah.
Because the parts are out there.
Yeah.
You don't need to get rid of it. And if you're gonna
her
open
entire
it, then
screen
you can probably just clean the thing
is
yourself and then put a
full
new
of
O-ring. But I
moisture
wouldn't clean it without you
on
placing
that
that O-ring.
watch.
That's why it happens. So we're getting ready to roll here.
So in a short while, we find out that the ride leader has a flap at his driveway while he's trying to get over here.
You got some new kicks there, John.
Mark, the guy I met last week.
They're not comfortable. I like these. These are the best ones. I think they're good.
So they make the decision here to ride to his
You know
house.
what size to get.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah, right.
It's a guy wearing a shirt there called Iceman on the front. That's doing wishful thinking.
You're right. Well, he's diving.
Most visible here. No, I told him, I said, he's got a jersey that says Iceman. I said, wishful thinking.
Yeah, right.
This is the weather for it. It's very humid, all the rain we've had.
It's Michael.
Eldred. Nice to meet you, Michael. Eldred. E-L-D-R-E-D. Yeah. So what's going on with Mark? Is he delayed or?
His house is on the way. I don't. Maybe he planted it in the driveway or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, better than.
And we find out he has a flat in his driveway, so they decided to ride there.
We're gonna follow Randy to Mark's house.
There's Randy in the blue over there in the background. I guess he knows the way to the leader, the ride leader's house. It's not that far from here, so we decided to just go there.
I think I mentioned.
This is Doug.
Yeah.
Nice to
And
meet you.
there's Dave. I call him
Iceman?
Iceman.
I like Iceman better.
Okay, Iceman.
He's got a shirt with Iceman
Nice to meet
written
you,
on it. I
Dave.
thought that was cool.
And you're Doug, right?
You ridden with these guys before?
No, that's my first. Well, actually, second time. I picked them out on Fish Creek one day. I was coming back, and I rode in with them. I've known Mark for a while. Been trying to get me to come out here. So I saw him last week and promised him I would.
So these are the two guys I end up riding with on the way back.
The guy that I met last week, Mark, his bike, he flatted at his house. We're gonna head to his house. It's on the way, and pick him up. I think he's the main ride leader.
Look at the shoulder here. You see all those manhole covers and stuff.
That's one of those lights where it would be better to just put an arrow there. So I don't have to read that. Yeah, it's just weird. That light we just went through said protected left on green arrow. Well, you have to read the sign. You know? Who's got time to read that when you're riding or driving? Put an arrow there. Because most of those lights like that are unprotected. So that's the default. And they put a little white sign there that says, oh, this one's protected. 1 out of 1,000.
So you see how wide this shoulder is. And you see right on the corner here, look how the curb juts out, blocks the shoulder right there. That's what is a headache to use. And then it ends in here, and you can get back on the shoulder. So a lot of times, if it's not busy, I just use the lane. Like you see Doug, who I just met in front of his door, and most of these guys ride like this, which is fine because you don't have to take up the whole lane. Plus, it keeps you away from that white line, gives you more room from the passing cars. So we're turning left here. The ride leader lives right down the street from the ride start, and apparently in his driveway he discovered he had a flat. So we get there, we give him a bit of a ribbon. Hey, you should have dealt with this on Thursday. Yada yada. So as we approach the ride leader's house, in a little bit I froze it in. There's a squirrel that comes across from the left, right there. He darts across. So we start to talk about some guy, Randy had it stuck in his wheel or one thing.
Squirrel. That's the kind of speed I want. They're quick.
Watch out with Randy and the squirrel.
I don't think he can catch them.
T-bone the squirrel. He got one clap.
Really?
Said Randy got one caught in his wheel. His wheel and his
Really?
fork.
Wow.
Squirrel didn't.
Yeah, it obviously didn't make it.
He has to eat it.
If you kill it, you have to eat it.
If you kill it, you gotta eat it. Mark gets the pole since we came to his house.
Mess I'm ribbon, Mark. You should have done it on Thursday.
Uh-oh. The fight is still on us.
He should have done that on Thursday.
I don't know what.
He's defeating the purpose of getting up at 6:30.
I rolled back and decided to ride up the driveway.
Got a little training.
Mark is going.
You know, tell him you want the 80s?
You know what he does? You're standing there in your bullshit.
That's what it is.
And he just looks at you and he goes, 45 millimeter, and you go, yeah. Well, anyway, so we're leaving on.
Was it 10?
So we were going up the hill, and I saw that's what happens. And you don't even know what the hell you're buying.
I bought the Zine extenders last time, but I got stuck out there.
I bought an extender, but for some reason, hey John,
You know what? I think I have yours. I owe you one.
do you love
Who's this?
as we found out one day,
This bad boy here, we'll put it on.
he'd rather break his fingernail. We found out one day,
Yeah, got out in the driveway and.
Hey, you have a flat in your driveway, man. That's not.
Mark, do you have enough coffee for everybody? Or?
Well, Mark's gonna pull the group.
You're gonna take
going
a long
out.
time.
Do we have pancakes?
We're done talking now. Let's go. We've said everything we want to say. Now we want to ride our bikes.
Did you shift to the smallest size? Okay, let's line it up, and you should be able to get in.
What are you doing putting your wheel on while it's up there on the stand?
Well, that's the stand I have. That's a very good stand. I use that stand.
I've got a Park Tools. I really dislike mine, actually.
That one's so easy because you've got that action where you can just put the thing in there, squeeze it, make a few times, and then to take it off, you just push that triangular button. It just pops loose.
I heard it.
It's really neat.
All
right, you got a spare tube? That's your spare tube now. Your bag's empty.
I don't have a spare tube. That's why I'm hoping. Who's got?
You've got one tube? Come on, man. You're a cyclist. Buy the stuff bulk. I mean, you plan on stopping riding at some point soon?
I think he's got a lot of tubes. They're just all
Dude, I got in from the airport last night at 9 o'clock, and I had my you-know-what together. I had to check my tire last night. That bike is filthy.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
My bike's dirty, too.
I rode it last week in the mud. All right. Get my hat on before Dave.
You're defeating the purpose of trying to leave at 6:30. Come on. Let's get this going.
You can't. Don't be under the illusion that they're going to leave at 6:30. Say they're going to leave at 6:30.
You guys.
So you tell them next time they leave, when they say they're going to leave, we'll be the first.
They'll leave at 7, huh?
I don't want to wake up.
It's gonna be warm today because of all the rain we've had. I was coming out this morning, my glasses started fogging up. Yeah, we had a lot of rain this week. All the plants are happy. Right in my hand.
Davis is asking, how do you hold that thing? Everybody asks that. It's just worried about safety.
It's not heavy, it looks heavy.
I want you to be safe. That's,
Oh yeah, well,
these guys can tell you. I'm
I
all
don't ride with my hands, my legs do.
How's it know they're good people to look at?
Moving around, so regardless of what you do, it's like a gyroscope. And so it keeps the camera steady, you don't get that flutter. So it's like
that thing advertised.
It's a gimbal. Yeah. So basically, what they use in Hollywood on those rigs when they have a car chase,
So you can
and they've
walk
got the
along it
stuff.
and make sure
Yeah.
it smooths everything out.
It smooths everything out, and I've got this
Everybody
thing,
always worries about how we
the
carry that.
display settings are on what
I've
they
had
call
somebody ask
movie
recently on the
settings, meaning
channel
24 frames per
to
second.
do a
2.7K
film of
so
how
we
I
can
carry
read the
it.
letters on your journey.
I may do that
It's
on
not
the
like
trainer
those-
just to show you
Yeah,
guys.
it's
I
not
don't
like
know
the
if there's
crap
any
these people
interest in
load. It
that.
takes longer to process, but I edit the film and I narrate.
So,
So, it's not just a dump on YouTube.
Thinking about doing that because everybody
this is
seems to
actually
think it's a big deal. I guess we take it for granted.
I'm gonna
We've
let
just
them
gotten
know.
so accustomed to
Don't have
having
a
that.
flat before the group ride in
You
the
know,
driveway.
it's not necessarily easy,
Check
but
your
we just
bike on
grown to.
Thursday. Clean your bike.
The ABC.
Don't ride
We've
in the
gotten used
rain
to
and
just
leave your
carrying
bike
that,
dirty.
and I guess
Like
Yeah,
marks.
it might be a big
get it
deal
where
for
you're like, that's good.
other people. Because everybody's been mentioning it on every new ride we go to. People see that camera. How are you going to carry it? How is it attached? 2 people on this ride asked me, how are you going to carry it?
What's the board? Those real bumpy
They're
roads,
talking about
remember
the course here that they
crash
want to do the
we had?
route.
If we hit really,
And-
really bad roads like that, let's
And they
call
start
it
talking
like
about going through the forest and how there are some bumps. Unpleasant
So we
road.
don't have to go up through the forest if you don't want to. We can go straight up 149.
49, which is fine. I mean, that was one rock.
I kind of like the forest. I wasn't going to go that
Which
far.
road was
anyway.
which road was that in the forest?
That was whatever the road is, not Osborne.
Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant. That's a nice road. Mount Pleasant. is not
It's
bad.
got a few bumps, but yeah, it was
Mount Pleasant's not
there should
bad.
be a neutral, like a truce. Don't hammer in the forest because there are some bumps.
He never said.
So I don't know. Leave your comments below if you hear this on this ride. What do you want to see? A short video about how we carry the
All the rain,
gimbal
all the rain
on the
we've had.
road. I can do something in the studio on the trainer to just kind of show you. Because we've gotten a lot of people asking about that on and off line. Everybody sees that camera, the first thing they wonder, how are you going to carry that? And it's really not so much the camera as opposed to the gimbal. The size is daunting. So maybe I should do something. We get used to carrying it and it becomes second nature. But it ends up adding an extra pound to the bike. I'm not one of these weight weenies. I don't worry about it. I don't worry about weight that much. I'm not climbing the mountain pass for an hour. That's when weight becomes a factor. These ups and downs, once the bike's rolling, I can handle it. So it's not significant. It's under a pound. It might be 3/4 of a pound. It's like 380 grams, something like that. But the weight is displaced to where it's not like a lump. It's not in one spot. So it just doesn't feel bulky. That's why I handed it to Duck, and he was flipping it around. He was surprised too. It's the same thing Mo said, "You kidding me?" last week. When I handed it to him, he couldn't believe how light. It looks heavy, but it's not. So I'll do a video. I think that it will be something that will be interesting, just to have it out there. So we start the ride here. We're rolling out, and I noticed first thing that Davis is hanging at the back. You can see the gap. Because all I'm trying to do here is
I'm
kind of
staying on the
learn.
road because the shoulder has a lot of manhole covers in certain spots. Then the curb juts out. So I'm just gonna stay here.
Yeah, just and if I mean this part of it is not that bad. It's just that I don't like to use the shoulder if it's not really busy, especially on these roads in the woodlands that has 2 lanes, because then you have to dart. See the corner? The curbs always jut out. Let's see here. This is not as bad actually. That's not bad there, but it's inconsistent throughout this subdivision. Well, I wouldn't call it subdivision. Might as well be it's a town. an unincorporated city in the area. They didn't want to be annexed by Houston. So I'd much rather just use the road here and their ride. You can see that these guys are going to have to come over the curb. Basically, they've got an island here. They've eliminated the shoulder there. But I noticed this group does not like to do what the bike barn does, where you have two lines taking up the whole lane, which is fine. There's one on the road and one on the right. That's actually fine too, because this way you can conversate. Whenever you see groups doing this like this, that means the pace is not very hard. When the pace gets hard, it goes single file. You don't have to say it, because nobody wants to sit out in the wind going hard. And you'll see that just happen. But right now is a warm-up pace, so that's why you see two lines. That's the good thing about cycling being a social sport. The guy on the left is called Michael. I don't remember the name of the gentleman on the right. I met so many people, and not all of them are on Strava. The guy in front of Michael is Doug. I remember him because we rode back together. And the guy in front of Doug is called Dave. And both Doug and Dave started following me on Strava over the weekend after the ride. Dave is what I call the Iceman. See, his jersey says Iceman. So that's why I said wishful thinking in the parking lot. Hey, look, this is a warm, muggy morning. Temperature's 22 C, but it feels warmer because we've had 4 days of rain.
Yeah, I got rained on for about 5 minutes, heavily. So good, didn't it?
Mark's asking if I rode on Sunday last week.
Sunday.
I told him, yeah.
It was dry mostly until a few miles from home. Rained for 5 minutes, heavily, and just stopped.
And Mark rode in the rain too. That's why his bike was dirty, so we're teasing him about it.
Outside, it was raining. Went back to bed for about a half hour, couldn't sleep. So now it looks like it's worth it.
Yeah, yeah, you could ride. It wasn't raining that much, just scattered stuff.
Mark's got his glasses on the back of his head like I store mine. I like to store them like that too. So when you see two abreast, people chatting, the rivet is not working yet. You know, we're not going hard. See the curb jut out again, block the shoulder here. I don't know why they did that. So that's just a shoulder they put there to keep the road from being washed away. It's not a bike lane per se, as you can see. So, you know, you make a judgment, you use it when it works for you. Right here, we're using the lane. Somebody up there, I'm not sure who. That's why you see the pace picked up. Everybody. I think that's Randy. I ended up meeting him later.
And it's on the lowest setting.
Yeah, Michael came by and said my lights were really bright. It turned out that I said it was on the lowest setting, but I was mistaken. It turned out I had it flashing on high, which the light on the lowest setting is bright enough, and I was not aware. So I pushed the button one more time, thinking I was turning it off.
It's a pretty bright light. I turned it off.
And so I told him I turned it off, and he said, "Nah, you don't have to."
That's fine. It's good when I'm solo.
So it ended up being on the proper setting for the group. Whenever I'm in the group, I put it on the fourth setting, which is low flashing. Plus, you get the best life out of the battery. So all I'm doing here, I think right now I'm on the right behind this gentleman here. I didn't get his name. He's one of the ones that ended up going along with Mark and them to go through the Richards, to go off the Richards. But I started from so far in town that it would have been a 6-hour day. I wasn't planning on that. Especially after a rest week. I don't want to just jump back into huge mileage, build back up. So I'm going to build back up to it. we plan to ride to this drive when we hook up with them, and so we'll do their route. I don't mind if it's 5 or 6 hours at that point. We can. I'll be back on my program. I moved back on the road here because I know that intersection means that there would be another curb jutting out, blocking the shoulder. So they didn't put that there for cyclists, obviously, you can see that. But we use that shoulder if it's smooth and whatever and it's busy, we'll ride that. And you just have to get back in the lane early enough, and you have to check for traffic. So a lot of drivers in the woodlands are aware that at the corners, we have to come back over. So it's not a problem. So we ride there as a courtesy. And since we want to conversate, you can ride there this way. You're using about half of the lane, and you stay away from that white line. Stay far away from the passing cars. I think that's why they do that. This is similar to what the pros do too when they're training. They don't want to be dealing with cars. They just want to ride. That's the thing. So you have to think about that in that manner. Even though you have the right to pick up the whole lane, it's not necessary. Why bother? Use what you need.
He needs to rest.
And riding like this, the cars will still pass in the other
We
lane.
all went through that last year. It took us all longer to get back.
But most of the time when I ride solo and I'm going fast, I stay where you see Michael right there in front of me.
Yeah, the key is,
At this point Mark comes over, I move over to the right a little bit.
That's what's on his mind. I told him it doesn't matter. What you need to do is
But on a road like this, a solo rider, you ride where this guy in front of me is, Michael with
It's not a
the
head goal.
chartreuse socks. That's where you want to ride as a solo rider. It's just better. Unless that shoulder, see how wide that shoulder is here at this point? Yeah, I see a lot of riders just using it because it's wide, it's smooth. Why not? But if you have to be darting in and out like you see us doing at the corners and it's not busy, I just stay on the road. You just have to constantly make the decisions that keep you safe when you're riding. This is a heavily traveled route by cyclists. This road is called Research Forest in the woodlands. If you look on the Garmin heat maps, it's one of the roads that are probably in purple. It's the smoothest way, best way out of town. So we're headed towards Honier. A lot of hills in Honier. You will find some of the strongest riders in the area live in the woodlands. Have a lot of races in the woodlands. Every year we have the Ironman. We have an Ironman that's held in the woodlands, among other races. And they shut down the roads for that. You guys have seen that in some of our group rides. So the woodlands is part of an area called Spring, but because they're not a part of the Houston, then they were not annexed as a city. They're a unincorporated city. They have their own tax rates. They have their own sign colors. I think they use like brown and white on their street signs. So you're basically in a separate city within a city. I hear this lane is closed. There's some construction going on in it's like a yard. They're not really constructing the road. It's right there. They're working back there, so they're keeping cars away from that lane. So the heavy equipment. They're building something over there. You see on the right. Right there. They're just keeping cars away from there while they do their work. So we use this left lane here, rightfully so, since the right lane is closed. And then these guys go over kind of early here with no warning. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Because you're in a group like that, if you're gonna do things like that, you gotta let everybody know. And they did. They just kind of, you know, they did it like they were riding solo. That's what I was laughing at. I did ask, what are you guys doing? This is Old Egypt Road. This will take us out to Fish Creek, which is gonna take us out into Onie. So we're in Egypt right now. This area is called Egypt. A lot of construction going on. There's a building coming up on the left over there. That's a shopping center. That's where the Fast Boys meet on Sunday to start their ride. That's where I met them that week. I rode out here. It was like a 50-minute ride or so. That's an hour to pick them up. Right there, that building on the left. Turn left in there, and they meet in a shopping center. Go out north. So that's a lot of different meeting places in the Woodlands area. A lot of different groups. There's a wine tasting shop in here. That's where they meet. Right where you see this building. Orange
Guy named Tim Neenan built it.
Guys asking me about my frame.
Whole world.
So he asked me if it was titanium. I told him no, it was steel. It's hard to tell because it's fully painted. So this is 1488, FM 1488 here in Egypt Road. This is the quieter way to get out to Fish Creek. Light turns green, we roll. Randy here on my right is in the wrong gear, so he's having to work. And in a little bit, I noticed that Randy doesn't want to be up here. He's slowing down to go to the back. I think he's planning on just riding with Davis, the lady I met, I was speaking with in a parking lot in the Chartreuse, Jersey. Their intent is to ride slower today than these guys are planning on riding, so you end up with two groups. And we end up regrouping at the store. So I'm between the front group, and right now I'm just kind of trying to get loose. After being off a week, you don't really feel like a cyclist per se. I'm riding fine, but I just don't feel as smooth as I usually do.
Car up!
And the reason why I did that car up
Looked like he was coming over.
was to let them know that this guy that just went by, he was basically coming into our lane, and the reason was, I think I froze it. There's a car on the left parked partially on the road. So he had to come over. And he was coming into our lane, so I had to let them know to be aware. So it helped them kind of squeeze up the group up there. Because he was nowhere near me. I saw him, but they're riding two abreast. And he's coming over. You can see how narrow this road is. Anybody wasn't looking, I was giving them an alert. These are not full-size lanes in these neighborhoods. This is where Paul and I usually turn left when we come here. These guys go straight, which ends up being a better way to get out there. I mean, well, just different, I guess. You get further down on Fish Creek. They go down about a block and then turn left.
Oh, he's got the stop sign.
So yeah, he's got the stop sign. We had to go. There was no stop sign on our side. So I was letting the guys behind us know. Mark said, car right. Calls it out so people can pay attention that something's coming, something's there. That's David's back there. Randy's riding next to her. I don't know the name of the guy on the left screen. To have more of a gradual warm-up than the guys that I rode with that Sunday. A few of these guys here do ride with the fast group from time to time. The guy on the right in front of me here, Iceman, as we turn, in the ride I began to notice that his bike is just ticking. It's a good bike. He's got like a BMC time machine. He said they don't make it anymore. We ended up talking about it on the way back. He said they make what is called the road machine. I'm not that familiar with the BMC bikes, but it's a BMC time machine, and something's going on with his gearing. He was searching for gears on the climbs. So on the way back, he struggled quite a bit with Doug and I. But he said that he does his own work, and I think I just suggested to him that he check his limiter screws because he said he was having trouble getting into certain gears at the right time. There's a lot of noises coming from the drivetrain. As I've always said, noises mean something's wrong. Even in your car, you get a weird noise, something's up. You gotta check it out. So you're gonna notice as the pace begins to pick up, we'll automatically go to single file. Just watch. I will point it out when it happens. That's something that just happens because not both individuals up there want to pull at that pace, because it's a long ride. So it's not the most efficient way to ride unless you have, say, a big team or a big group and you have enough strong riders that want to carry that pace in two lines. But as the ride gets faster, even amongst the pros, that's why you see that arrow in the bunch. It looks like a spearhead. Not everybody wants to be at that front. People learn this art because it's better to save your energy, let one person work. When they pull off, then somebody else can get to the front. I didn't do too much pulling in this ride. I pulled once on the way out in the group, and then on the way back I pulled a few times because there were just three of us after we split up. Because a part of this group goes into the forest, into the area called Richards, which I'm familiar with. I just hadn't planned on doing a 6-hour ride since I rode with them. So if you watch Mark over there, I think he's telling them, yeah, now Mark, the pace is picking up, the road's going up, Mark's, now this is where everybody's going single file. That's your clue when you're riding with a group, that it's on. You keep your eye on that. The warm-up's over now. If you look at the duration up there, at this point in the ride, it says an hour 39. That's basically for me, because I rode from my house at 5:37. But for them, this is 30 minutes from the time we left Mark's house, which is a reasonable amount of time for a warm-up. And you can just see. So you know now when the group goes single file, it's time to get busy. So Mark's in second position, Doug's behind Mark's, that's Michael up there, this is Dave in front of me. I don't know the name of the guy at the front, but he sat there for quite a while. It turned out that he ends up being the one that has the flat on the climb. But we waited for him as a group. You know, you will see that down the road. I'm staying a little to the left of Dave. Right here, this road, see those little reflector things? I hate going over them. We stayed to the right because we're going to use the shoulder. Right here, this road goes from 2 lanes to 1. leave a bit of a gap at the top because I know this is a downhill. And you can see me just roll up. I'm not, see, I'm coasting. Look at 0 RPMs. My position is so dialed in that just being on the hoods, I'm very efficient, especially on downhills. I end up rolling faster than most people. Right here, I started pedal again. The descent is over. So what I tried to do is I avoid hitting my brakes by staying back and a little to the left or right so I can catch the wind. I don't use my brakes much. It's time to brake. I'd much rather just brake and take the speed off than slightly using the brakes. I don't care for that. You shouldn't. In the pace line, you have to learn to use the wind. Let the friction slow you down. You see what Dave is doing? That's what you do, because you're getting sucked along because people are blocking the wind for you, creating a hole. I moved to the left because this road here, the shoulder narrows there, and the road opens back up to 2 lanes. I'm already in the lane. And I signaled to the people behind me with my right hand that they needed to move over. The camera's in my left hand next to the hoods. You can hear the wind, which is always out here. And this road, it may say 0, it's not flat. Just look at the picture. It might be 0.7 or something like that. We're going up. We're gaining elevation the whole time. This is where I begin to notice that Dave's bike is just ticking. It's funny how you get fixated on that. I personally don't like noises on my bike. The noise means something's not right. The bike's not happy. And so I go chasing the source down. Cause and effect. So Dave's eating. If you notice, I was eating in the parking lot. I'd already ridden about 40 minutes before they got there. So I was eating. I ate in the parking lot to get something in my system. I wasn't hungry, but I just put something in there for later. Mark's checking to make sure that Davis and them are there, or whether I didn't even look back. But he's the leader. He's keeping track of everybody. That's why he pulled out to do that. So even though we're riding on the shoulder, we could still use this lane if we wanted to. We ride on the shoulder here. These guys, and just when you're going fast, and for the most part, what they're trying to do is just stay as far away from traffic as possible. So most of the groups out here will do single file for the reasons I mentioned. Nobody wants to go too abreast at speed. But you can use the lane if you choose to. These guys just like to ride out of the shoulder or there, but then when they need to get off the front, they will pull off into the lane, obviously. But you check before you do that. And the rest of us behind you will let you know if a car is approaching. So you'll hear a car back. But most of the cars will pass in the left lane. They will not pass in this lane. Especially if you have a lot of cyclists. I personally like to just use the lane. If it's just me, I want to use the lane. And right here, you look at Dave. He's all over the road. He's doing, I don't know what he's doing, but look at the gap between him and that guy. Look at where I am. So he's wasting energy. I'm not. I'm shielded because I know what's coming. That overpass that I talked about, the fast guys riding away from me, that's coming. That's on my mind. So for me, I'm like, there will be no gaps between my wheel and whoever I'm following when we get to that overpass. That's my goal for this part of the ride. And the reason I'm mentioning that is you always have to have a goal. So if you're one of these people where you went with a group and there was a certain part of the ride where you had a challenge, you go back and you work on stuff and you come back. And on that same place, you try harder. And so today I'm going to make sure nobody rides away from me. These guys are not that much slower than the guys on Sunday. The guys on Sunday are just a lot more aggressive. So these guys are a great group to ride with because the pace is close. And then you can ride with those guys on Sunday to work on attacks and other things. That's what they really like to do that. So after my ride with these guys, Paul and I caught up, and I kind of told him, I said, man, this is a perfect group to hook up with. It's a good workout. And I told him what kind of distances they're doing. So we're going to prepare ourselves that even when we ride from the house, we'll do their entire ride. Right here, everybody's working. We're going uphill. There's wind there. This is all rolling terrain. It says 1%. It's between 1 and 3%. If you look up ahead, there's a car going left. That car's going left. Look at that road. Beautiful, but it's up. We're gaining elevation in this direction the entire way. These are the areas that people flock to when Houston has a lot of flooding or stuff going on. But this is just above sea level. This is an area close to the area called Conroe that we're headed to. Pony is 7 miles west of Conroe. Similar elevation. You see what Michael's doing? As there's a lull, he moves to the left, catches a little bit of wind. That's his braking right there. You don't need to use your brakes if you play it right. Guy's been at the front pulling for a long time, so he's getting a good workout. And I'll get his name on the next ride. So we're at the top of tempo right now. So everybody's working here. I'm at the top of tempo, which is not very hard. I mean, I don't feel particularly great during this ride. I've had a full week off, and whenever that happens, just my form doesn't feel as smooth. Just to me. If you look at me riding, you can't tell, but I know. This is Ridge Lake Shores we're passing here. That's another climb. So they're up and down, up and down. And then Dave decides to chat, compliments me on my jersey in a little bit, and then he wants to mention something about a Rafa team that covers races, because I don't follow them. I just buy the jersey. I don't follow all that stuff they do. But he assumed I knew who he was talking about, and I just told him, no, I don't follow those guys. And then when we got to the store, I just told him, yeah, I buy the jerseys on sale, I buy their stuff on sale, but I don't follow their podcasts and all that kind of stuff. I don't have time for that. So Mark takes over. That guy pulls off. He's been there for a while. He's the one that ends up having a flat, it turns out. The road going up here. I'm looking at the screen now and I see 100 RPM, 101. And actually, guys, during the ride, I wasn't looking at that because I was mostly focusing on framing the shots and so forth. It felt like I was riding at 75 RPM thereabouts. So I'm kind of pleasantly surprised to see that I was actually riding at my regular cadences. Everything felt foreign on this ride to me after taking off a full week, and that's normal. Once I take off a lot of time like that, it takes a ride or two for me to get my form back per se. And usually when you take off a block of time like I did on my rest week, it's not recommended to go and ride too hard the first ride back. That's one reason I'm just sitting in here. Because everything kind of feels off. You know, we're carrying 36, 37 kilometers an hour up a slight grade. You know, there's wind there, and so it's a good effort. This is what I talk about, let the heart rate do its own thing. You see my heart rate's dropping because of all the rides that I've accumulated, what I call putting in the bank. Our heart does not have to work that hard. This is where, what's his name? Dave starts to talk about my jersey. He liked the color. I told him, yeah, thanks. And he starts to mention the guys that do the Rafa podcast by name.
Cycling podcast? I don't listen to those guys. Yeah?
That's what I told him. I don't watch those guys right there.
They were talking about the tour yesterday.
He said it as if to say I'm supposed to know them, you know, and I'm like, I don't watch those guys. But look at the gap he left. So he's talking to me, he leaves this gap. Now what? He's working. I'm on his wheel. I'm sheltered. So you got to pick the right time to chat. If chatting is going to take away from you staying in the draft, don't do it. Because Dave is working hard here. Because that road went up at an inopportune time. There's the overpass. That gets up to about 5%, I'm guessing. And it's long. And all I'm thinking about here is there will be no gap between my wheel and whoever I'm following. So I'm ready. I'm not even downshifting. Whatever gear I'm in, I just ride it up this thing. Right here, I'm coasting. You look, my RPM's going back and forth because there's a slight downhill and then it starts. I'm on the white line. That's the cleanest place. Look at the shoulder. It's clean. I don't know how that guy got it flat, but anything can happen. But look at where I am. Because I've been focused, I'm literally half-wheeling Dave here. I'm on his left. See his upper body moving? He's working. Look at my cadence. It didn't feel that fluid, but it's good to know my muscle memory is just there. And we're just hammering up this thing.
Flat tire!
And then I heard flat.
Flat!
Somebody behind me yelled flat. I told him flat tire. We're done. The climb's over. Now we went over this climb about probably 3 kilometers or so slower than those guys on Sunday. So I kind of registered that. And then I noted that the effort was like top of tempo. So if I do a climb like this on my own, it will be zone 4 or higher. And it will be, you know, a harder effort. That's why I remember those things. So the group stops for a flat as a group. They're rolling down the overpass here, and at this point, I'm thinking, I need to use the restroom. So I'm looking for a spot. That's all on my mind right here. So I tell Mark.
Not sure who had the flat.
I told him I didn't know who had the flat, and I think I turned the camera off here. It took a while to fix the flat, of course. So I turned the camera off. I went across the street, see where those bushes are, those trees? I found a spot there. I said, we're going to be standing here for 10 minutes. I might as well make it worth my while.
Go to St. Church.
Oh, which one?
That's Mark here in the green jersey. That's Michael there with the red tape bars. That's Doug on the right, putting his shades on his helmet. And that's Dave on the left, called Iceman. Remember the Iceman jersey? So I turned the camera off. We're standing there for a while. And then we hammered to the store, so I didn't get a chance to turn it back on. A lot of people already chatting.
Yeah, I'm going back. I gotta go back.
They're going up to Richmond.
Very cool. Don't get me on there.
These guys are going to do Richards. I didn't plan on doing that today, so I'm gonna just head back in. So basically, last week I rode with more. My buddy
Not
was here.
today.
He's sick this week, and we did the first part of their ride, and we hooked up with Mark out here. Mark has a broken wheel, helped him fix it, and rode back in with him. Yeah, so it's out there. I post them every week, pretty much. I do about 3 videos a week. That's about all I can handle.
Go back. Go back.
Yeah, let's go with that. Huh?
Go back to Green Lake.
That's fine. That's fine. I don't think I've been to Grand Lake. That's new.
Go back on the same road, but past the new route, and then go up to the right.
Okay. I haven't been there, but I'll learn the new route. All right. Let's go.
So we're talking about how we're going to be going back.
I don't know where you're talking
I
about.
mentioned I hadn't been there, but I didn't remember the name of the subdivision I was talking about. But I had been there. We're going to take what we call the Keenan Cutoff. We're going to cut through, I think it's called Grand Estates to Pony Egypt Road, way back. So half of the group went to Richards and half of them going back south. They're up the road already. Davis and Randy and another guy that are up ahead. Because they go a little slower, they have a tendency to sneak ahead because they know we'll catch up. We end up catching them shortly and then leave them behind because the pace we're holding. They go out and not interested. Because Davis can sit in the draft. I think she just wasn't riding fast today. Because how I met them was out here on the highway where I rode up on Tony. She hung off that day anyway. So right here we're going to be turning left. This is 1097.
Car's back.
And we're going to be turning left to go over the Lone Star Parkway. So I'm looking back to make sure when it's clear to let them know. I think it's the last car.
Okay, clear.
Standing here, just rolling the big gear, just getting in. See my shadow. The camera's in my right hand, that's why it seems like I'm almost off the road, but I'm not. I'm right where Dave is. This is a slight downhill. I'm not really concerned about my ability to stay with these guys. I know I can. So right now all I'm trying to do is kind of wake up my legs, making sure that I keep my cadence decent. Because whenever I've been off the bike for a while, I just don't feel super smooth. I can still ride and just the feel is not good. The day after this ride, I felt a lot smoother than I did during this ride. And it's just a matter of what I feel as far as what the other people see. There's no, you can't really tell. But I know. There's Davis and Randy and them up there at the intersection. We see a bunch of cyclists going the opposite way. It's about 8:30. We're heading back, so I end up getting home about 10:40 something, almost 11 o'clock, which was perfect. If I had gone with those guys, it would have been at least another 2 hours. That was not in my plan. So you kind of have to be honest with yourself and know what you're planning on doing that day. Because they didn't announce the route ahead of time. We found out at Mark's house what they wanted to do. 4 hours was plenty for me today. I left early. I wanted to get back at a reasonable time. This is Randy. He's actually waiting to introduce himself to me. He didn't get a chance there, but as I go by, he will. What I noticed on this ride, everybody kind of came up to greet the new fellow or fella that came to the group. I thought that was kind of good. That was different than the last group we used to ride with that just ignored everybody and people didn't come back. You know? Yeah. So this is the norm. So this is Davis and this other guy, I don't know his name. I see they've got those mirrors on their helmet. I don't know, I guess it works for them. I've never been able to get that to work for me. I still have one in my tool kit. This is where Randy introduces himself to me. She had a joke there. He's in writing. And Randy ended up staying with Davis and the other guy. They wanted to hold a slightly slower pace. We're going directly into the south wind, and this is up and down terrain. So yeah, it's not easy. Dave goes to the front here behind Doug. At this point, I'm just trying to kind of get the dynamics of what they're doing. Somebody says car battle. So the whole idea about us riding the white line like you see, just cyclists in general, is it makes it easy for the faster road users to go by. They can see around us. And when it's done like you saw those two cars go by, we're not close to them as they go by. You know, that's the whole idea of, yeah, even though you can use the lane, well, you're going so slow, why not stay a little to the right? It's the same thing if your car had a mechanical and you're trying to get your car to a shop, let's say, where it's not performing at its normal speed. Usually you would be in the right lane. I mean, I've even seen drivers ride the shoulder, you know, and they got their flashers going. It's almost like they're hollow. We're slower and we're vulnerable. So that's the reason for looking at it that way. It doesn't mean you don't have a right to be on the road, even though some road users behave. But this just makes sense to keep you out of the main traffic. It makes it easier for them to get around you, especially on these narrow country roads. When it's clear, by all means, the road you've seen us do. That's why I don't keep anything in my ears. When they're not there, if I want to go by another rider, I check. But I also have my hearing to let me know if they're coming around. So Dave ends up spending a lot of time at the front here, and I thought that he should have probably spent a little less time. But you know, maybe he just wanted a workout, I guess. That you hear the wind. It's later in the morning. That's what makes it hot this time of year. The wind comes from the Gulf. It goes from north, from south to north. We're going into it. We're headed, it says southeast. We're going to turn a little to the right. We'll be even to the south. That wind blows, and most of the summer the wind does blow from the southeast, so we got wind in our face and from the left. So I'm pretty much on the, well, I'm moving a little over to the left here. I'm trying to look for the draft, and at this point we're going a little downhill, so I'm trying to slow myself down. I'm coming out into the wind, so I know you can see I'm coasting, 0 RPM. I talked about, you can be going downhill at a good speed and your heart rate will not get that high because you're going downhill, you have to work so much harder to drive up the heart rate. So yeah, it's kind of fun. That's the nice thing about it. You enjoy the downhill. The wind is just there. No brakes until you turn. Until you change direction. This is 105. Highways, if you go left, which is east, it'll take you to Conroe, other cities in the area.
How long you been in the Woodlands area?
Since about 2012.
This is a short light here at this intersection, but look at the road ahead. It basically starts to go up right here. and it does this for a few miles. It's up and down, averaging probably 3%. But it's not the steepest climb we encounter, but we're going into the wind. And I want you to look at Dave. Dave is working. I don't know what he's doing. He's killing himself with that. I wish, let's see if I get a better shot of him. I can just tell by his body language that he's going, look at him. He's going hard. He can't even hold a straight line. I don't know if he's trying to drop us or what. And now he just hit a point where it's like he ran out of power right there. I don't know if you guys noticed it. It's like then he looked around. But then he doesn't get off the front. So I'm not really sure. I mean, it's my first time riding with them. All I'm doing is just kind of watching. I had already shifted to the small chain ring at the light. Before the light, I actually shifted to the small chain ring because I saw the climb. That's what I talk about. You got to pay attention to what's coming. So I was in the small chain ring because I wanted to make sure I did not use too much muscle power. So they laugh. I think he was trying to drop us because they laugh. It's like, okay. And so Doug takes over. But the thing about, I talk about paying back the tax. All that stuff he did is going to come back to haunt him. I went ahead and edited this for time because we rode back probably, it was at least 2 hours, just the three of us. So I edited it, but, you know, not for content, for time. So you get the story. Right here, Doug wants me to take the front. I roll to the front at about the bottom of zone 4.
Wind brutal.
So for some reason, I get to the front, my heart rate dropped a couple of beats. I actually started feeling really good at the front. So I started working on taking different shots as I turned the camera around. I like that light that Doug has. It's very bright. I have to get the brand name from him. That's a different light. There are a lot of different lights out there. That looks very effective. A lot of power, the lumens on a bright day. So the Iceman is right behind me. Doug is behind the Iceman. I wish we could show his face again. He looks like he's working. I'm holding 32 kilometers an hour into the wind. It's not easy. Even though my heart rate says 159, it seems to be dropping. This is what I talk about heart rate. That comes from years of conditioning my body, so my heart does not need to work that hard. But it has nothing to do with how hard your legs need to work. You still have to be in a reasonably sized gear to get to 33 kilometers per hour at 82 RPMs. That's the point I'm making. And so because of that, my heart rate is dropping because I'm not spinning too much. Right here, Dave comes back to the front. I don't know if I get on his wheel or no. Doug comes through. Okay, then I get on Doug. When you're going to be riding for a while and you have members in the group that are willing to pull, welcome them. Even if you're feeling good, let them pull. Get to the back, eat, take a break, drink water, whatever. Even if you're feeling great, take the opportunity to take that break because throughout a ride, you're going to have ups and downs sometimes. Your body doesn't feel great all the time. So you never know when you can use that little extra break. Right here, I thought we were going to turn left. That's Mill Route Road that we came out on, but we're going straight, so I roll back up closer to them. And they're doing a bit of construction here because there is a school called Lake Creek. I don't know if it's a high school or elementary school. I don't remember the level. There's a school here, so they're expanding the highway here. That's the sign for the school. They're expanding the highway to create some left turns and so forth for the traffic. That's what this is. I don't think the school is new. It seems like just the growth of the area has made this a need. They're only doing this for maybe a half mile or so. So where the old pavement was, that was where that bump was that they called out. I'm already on here next to the white line. I'm not sure why Dave's still over there. Using the whole shoulder. So when they're done, this will be a wide lane. It will be basically a lane that merges back. It gives people that leaving the school almost like an acceleration lane per se. Whenever they do stuff like that, I can guarantee you they're going to lower the speeds here in that school. They'll probably put a school zone. I'll be shocked if they don't have a school zone now. I didn't see a sign for the school zone, but I'm sure they have one. In the school zones here, if you're pulled over, the fines are double. They're pretty expensive, more so than on the regular roads, because they want you to slow down. And I think you're not allowed to use phones and stuff like that. If you find out, there's another fine. But they do their best to legislate for some of the mistakes and carelessness of people. They can only do so much. So he's pointing at some strawberry farm that he says is on that road. And, so I just rolled past. Doug was asking what he's talking about. He said, I think it's blueberries. I'm sorry, not strawberries. It's like a blueberry farm. He's telling us about it. It's like a point of interest. There's a hole in the shoulder here that Doug is waving us away from. We've been out here often enough to where I kind of know that's been there for a while. It hasn't been fixed. There's a climb coming up here, and anytime the road goes up, there's a tendency for people to put more force into the pedals. I don't necessarily do that all the time, especially in the winter. I try to keep the effort the same, like when Paul and I are riding. When you ride with other riders, you can't expect that. So right here, Doug is putting the force in the pedals. And I hear Dave back there searching for gears. And later on, he tells us that he's having trouble with his shifting because he worked on the bike and he had his limiter screw off. He can't get in certain gears, But all I did was I just heard that. You can see I'm just right there. I'm staying in the draft. The effort went up a bit. You see my cadence in the 80s. Turn right. There's a beautiful hill there. And Dave goes ahead and mentions that. I mean, we know it's there. I love this hill. It's steep. It gets up to 7%. And if you're not turning it right, you get gapped. There's a good hill. And then Doug puts the power down again. I hear Dave struggling to look for a gear. We gapped him. I didn't turn the camera around here. But every time the road went up, it was just tough. He was trying to find the right ratio. You got to already be in your gear. You can see I've never lost ground here. I'm just sitting and powering in gear. Whatever I'm in, I'm powering. It gets steeper and steeper. If you look at the grade up there, it got up to like 7% before we got to this point. And then when Doug gets through, he's something like that. So as I say, you want to wait? I think I told him to back off.
Back off a bit.
Yeah.
Let you catch up.
We heard Doug say, whoo! And so we're waiting for Dave to catch up. Because he was I could hear him back there searching for a gear. Once you do that on a climb, you get gapped. That's it. You're not going to catch back up. You got to be ready. You got to be in a gear already. Nothing wrong with shifting, but you can't be searching. You shift once or twice, that's plenty. But if you're searching, you're losing momentum. So he catches back up here. I should have turned the camera around. I think I drank. I was really focusing on drinking and taking care of myself. It just felt very humid. I was inside all day long. It says 25°C. It feels like 32. That's another reason we went out early. If you're not out in the heat frequently during the week, it's hard to just go out on the weekend. And I didn't ride all weekend. I was indoors. So That's why I had the jersey zipped. So down the road there, there's going to be a turn. We're going to turn right. I end up again editing this section that's coming up for time once we get into the neighborhood to get us to Pony Egypt. But it was definitely more fun riding back with these two guys than trying to do that on my own if nobody had been coming back, because the pace was good. We're turning right here, and I asked him if we're turning into that neighborhood. That's the Grand Lake. I think it's Grand Estates. Grand Estate.
You turn in the neighborhood here?
Yeah,
Okay.
As we're turning, there's a motorcycle coming up, so I let him know to watch for him. So I took a wide turn. So this will go south, then go east to Pony Egypt Road. This is a weird neighborhood in that they have gates within gates. Like you got a gated community within a gated community. So we end up having to walk around the first gate because there's no car that's triggering to open.
This goes up to Honey Egypt Road?
Honey Egypt Road. Honey Egypt, okay.
And we can either go, it's about 3 miles right on Honey Egypt, which is a very nice road, or we can go 2 miles back and get on the street.
Yeah. Or we can just take Honey Egypt south.
So yeah, Doug is saying that, you know, we can go south of Pony Egypt, like I said, but he considered it not be a very good road because there is no shoulder. That's not my criteria. I think it's a great road. You don't have that many cars passing you. You guys have seen us use that road. But a lot of riders prefer roads with shoulders. If the road's not very busy, I don't mind if it doesn't have a shoulder. So right here, Doug goes to the front again, and I'm just trying to get a feel for how these guys ride. There's quite a bit of this section here where the pace, like right now he's riding up a climb. And that's how the groups do. When the road goes up, they work those hills. That's the whole point of riding the hills. So you gotta expect that. Save your energy for when it matters. But in quite a bit of this section here, once we're done with the hills, we're chatting and kind of rolling along. So the power is not on the whole time. I think we end up getting passed by a guy on a time trial bike in a little while. You can see right there, Dave moved left. I don't know if he's taking the lead or not. It looks like he is. Yeah. So when you get with a group, initially you want to kind of observe what they do, their norms and whatever, and that's all I'm trying to get a feel for, the dynamics out here. And plus I want to get good clips, so if I'm at the front and I try to get a clip from the back, it's not as clear as from behind. Going into the wind, it is rolling terrain. I'm keeping my cadence between 75 and 95. That's my goal. Coasting here. This is where this guy, he was at the store with us. And I'm not sure when we went around him or maybe he took a different route, but he was at the store when we were leaving. I remember the bike. easterly direction. The wind's coming from our right and in our face. Because of how we've been riding here, you know, like right here the power's off, we're coming to the gate here. So we have to unclip and walk around the edge of the gate. Because the gate doesn't meet that white fence. Last time we came through here, there was a car that approached about the same time we got
They have
there.
a gate within the gate.
Yeah.
Not far enough.
So we got an internal gated community within a gated community. So this is the first gate, and then we'll get to the second gate before we get to California, Egypt. So right here, the power's off. We're just kind of chatting. We just got around that gate, and now we're gonna ride again.
Biggest gear in the back. I'm riding between the granny and the big gear.
Okay. This Sunday I rode with the fast group. They came through here as well. We were fortunate enough at both gates to have cars there. On this one, we end up getting passed by a couple of dump trucks, and they triggered the gate on the other side for us. Even with my flyweight jersey, it just felt warm. Well, I should say hot. I guess that's 28C now. It felt warmer than that. So that's one of the dump trucks that are going by, and they will end up triggering the second gate for us. Three-way stop sign. That guy didn't even bother stopping. So the gate's right up there. So we basically speed up. I timed it to where the trucks would be completely through by the time I got there. I didn't want to have to slow down. They had to slow down a little bit to ride on the truck. Well, Dave did, I think. This is Honia Egypt Road. We got on it further up than where Paul and I usually get off. What's going through my head at this point of the ride is that we've got a climb at the end that is about 1.5 kilometers, maybe more. As far as the steepest pitch, it might be 0.5 kilometer where you go over that bump. And the level's off, but you're still climbing all the way till we get to Fish Creek Thoroughfare Road. So when you have those kind of things coming up, this part of the road is not that challenging, but if you get to the front, you don't want to leave everything you've got out there. Don't use up all your energy. You have to save it. That's why it's good to know what's coming. You always got, even if you don't know what's coming, always keep a little something until you're sure the ride's over. Because I know I've got to ride another 45 minutes, maybe an hour south with the wind in my face. It might take me an hour. So at this point, I've had my gels and You saw me eating when we started the ride. I've had my electrolytes. I've got a bottle with Vitalite in it. When we stopped at the store, I used the water to make a mix, and then I put clear water in one bottle. So as far as hydration, I'm good. And it's not just for this section of the ride. I have enough hydration to get me to the end of my ride, which is another hour after I break off from these guys. You always have to have that in mind. Always know what's coming up. And it's not only when you ride with a group, on all your rides. Just plan it to where you have something left in your bottle. If you don't need it when you get home, fine. But you're better off than running out. You don't get any points for getting home with an empty bottle. So if you have to stop, you stop and refill. Because when you're behind on fluids, it hurts your performance. So my heart rate is 10 beats lower than it usually is when I ride with those guys that I rode with that Sunday. So these are the kind of things I observe. When I was riding with those guys, it was like 161, 162, from 150 to 162. So with these guys, it's 140 to 150 something, depending on the terrain, of course. And I'm not really drafting super closely. Right here I am, but most of the time it's framing shots. So what that tells me is there's a rider up the road there. There must be the triathlete. I thought he was gone. I don't remember seeing him on the ride. I wasn't paying attention to him even with our social chatting or whatever, he really didn't pick up that much ground after he went by. But we didn't have the power to turn on the entire time. So Dave has been up there for quite a while. He's got his hand on his back, I'm not sure what he's doing. I think he's adjusting something. He's got that, he's just got his hand laying on his back. I'm not sure. Is getting numb. I just noticed that. I didn't notice that when we're riding. I'm sure he had a reason for that. People will do that when something's wrong. You start to stretch something or something's uncomfortable. Comes right back to fit again. I noticed Doug has a mirror in his bar. I have some of those in my toolkit. I tried them. I could not get to where I trusted the images. It's a smart idea, but it seems like I was always seeing my legs as opposed to what's behind me. Right around this curve, I think this is where the road starts to, I think you can see the climb here in the distance. You can see with the wind and the grade, our speed is dropping. I think Dave should have been off the front by now. I don't know why he stayed there so long. But the reason I mention that is as soon as we hit the hill, he got gapped. So that's another thing you want to keep in mind. If you're going to sit at the front that long and then you get gapped on the climb, what it means is you stayed there too long. Because had he come to the back and taken a break, he might have been able to stay with us. That's what I talk about. Don't pull so long that you get dropped. So Doug goes around him here. I'm on Doug's wheel. Since I know the climb is coming, we're going into the wind. I'm on Doug's wheel here. I see that rider up there. I don't think it's that triathlete. I think it's somebody else. I think it's the guy we end up getting real close to, and Doug was trying to actually catch him. I don't know if you heard those 2 clicks. That's me getting into gear here. Look at my cadence. I ramp it up because it's early in the climb, and I know this climb is long. This climb continues after you get over where you can see. Yeah, that's a different rider up there. We're not getting close to it. So we're climbing I'm in zone 4. You can see my cadence went down a little bit, and I will probably go back up once the mean grade is over. Unless I shift up. I don't remember how I was riding this climb. But then I realized I didn't hear Dave, because I use my hearing to know there's other riders there. But I didn't look back. I realized I didn't hear him, and I think I froze the frame here because it was such a little glance right there. That's Dave. That's quite a bit of a gap. That's like almost a quarter mile. And the climb's not over. It may say 0, but it's like 0.7, 0.8. It continues all the way around that curve. It continues. See, we're getting closer to that rider. We got within about a bike length for that rider, but we never quite caught up to him. I mean, I wasn't trying to do it. If we had been chasing per se, I would have come around Doug and finished it off, but he seemed to be doing fine. He wasn't struggling on the front. So I just sat back here. See, my heart rate's going down, so it's getting easier for my heart. My heart is not working as hard. That was consistent because now my cadence is going up in whatever gear I'm in because I didn't shift. That means the terrain's getting easier. My heart rate's dropped 4 beats. Cadence gone up 5 beats. That's the key. So since I've been drinking enough, temperature's not affecting my heart rate much. Went back up at 170, but I can stay at 170, 175 all day if I need. I don't worry about those things. I don't pay that much attention to them when I'm riding. It's my cadence that matters. I want to keep my legs fresh. So you can see we're very close to this rider. I look back. I don't see Dave at all. So when I turned that camera back, there was a bit of a gap here. This is a slight grade right there. And I says 1%. I could feel it. So I rode back up the Doug. So because of all the training we've done, when it's time to go hard, it's not that big a deal because you got a good foundation. You actually enjoy going hard. So when I talk about intervals being difficult and they hurt even more if you're out of shape when you try to do it. You got to build yourself up first. So had we been really chasing this guy per se together, let's say if he were a part of our group, at this point, I would pull through and finish the close. Because I could tell that Doug was doing fine. Look how close we got. But since he wasn't part of our group, I mean, I just didn't want to make it so obvious. I mean, look, we're right there. Maybe 2 bike lengths. So we traveled that whole distance faster than he did because he was way up the road. I mean, look at it. That's why I told Doug, I said, we caught him. But Doug mentioned, I almost caught him. You caught him. Look at that. Even with the wide angle on this camera, that's 1 bicycle length. That's why I told him, you caught him. Right here, I turned off the power. The light's coming up. So the guy in the front knew that we were there. So what he did is he rolled on the shoulder at that light. right there. They didn't want us to catch it, but we already, the catch was done.
You want to wait for that guy?
It was done. So we slowed down. I mean, you see 18 kilometers an hour. It's a flat road. We should be doing 35. So I asked him if we wanted to wait for Dave. I think I've already asked him, and then I ended up pointing to this driveway. Because he suggested while we stopped there, I just pointed to some real estate office here. So we pulled in here to wait for them.
Oh, you caught it. That's why I just sat behind you. You had it. Really, that wasn't a goal. He's just having trouble finding the right gear. Yeah.
They've had trouble just searching for the wrong gear. He's been pulling for so long in the wrong gear, your legs just can't do
felt
that.
like Simon Yates on the 18th at the Giro.
Well, you're grinding, so you're using up all your glycogen because you can't use all your gears.
That's right.
So what happens is you're just depleting your muscles.
That's right.
So then you overgear. And then that combination is not the most efficient.
Not for
He's
me.
cross-chained.
No, not here, no.
He's in a big chain ring right now. I wish I had put the
Don't stay
camera
in too long.
on. He's in a big chain ring and the
doing
largest
good.
cog in the
Yeah.
back.
You're doing good.
I don't know if you can
That's
see
what
it
they call
there.
cross-chaining. You don't want to ride that too much. So, but we're good. He caught that guy pretty much.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Better him, huh?
You had a strong pull back there and then the hill right
And I
in.
guess.
Yeah, exactly. So the legs hadn't recovered because you're pushing more today because you're gearing.
This is what we did on Saturday. I hope you got a chance to get out. If you didn't, get on the trainer, keep that body moving, keep it non-push, fire. I want to thank all the patrons
let's
and
finish this
supporters
up.
on Patreon. Get your K's in and be safe out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go research the branch crossing. I turn on branch crossing.